All right, good morning. Greetings and salutations to all of you out there in the YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in today, Sunday, game day for the Chicago Bears. And let me tell you, it's going to be a great day if you're a Lions fan. I'm predicting the Lions are going to win by roughly 10 points, but I'm sure you all are here to talk about Lions. Hey, what are we going to do after to get this win? And also, probably as you know from the thumbnail, I promised you guys yesterday I'd do a little looking into the Isaiah Buggs thing. I did have at least a little bit of an idea what had happened. And I did want to hear it from a few other people that I trust, that I said, hey, if everybody corroborates the same story, then you got something there. So anyways, what I'll say before we get into that, you guys all know the drill. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make a push to get to 4,500 before kickoff today. If you can do your part to help make that happen, I sure would be thankful for that. Also, don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up button, the like button, all that stuff. Now, while we're talking about that, if you're also new to Lions Talk Live, you might not know that outside of being a YouTuber and a coach / scout for sports, I am a realtor and have been for over 30 years. So if you would take a moment, if you're thinking about buying or selling property in the state of Michigan, or even outside the state of Michigan, if you want somebody to just give you some thoughts or advice, don't be afraid to give me a call, 269-998-2384. All right, so let's get into the chat. Let's start talking about what's happened. So before we get into the chat, I tell you what, let's just go to the crux of the story. So as we're all probably, as Lions fans, we're very aware, Isaiah Buggs re-signed with the team. Fan favorite. Everybody loves this guy. He came in and signed with us and really helped provide a lot of presence in the run department as far as stopping the run on defense for us. Great guy, locker room guy, really had the back of the coaching staff, all that. I mean, we get the Isaiah Buggs story. Comes in the start of the year, and, for a multitude of reasons, probably wasn't in the best shape, probably wasn't fully ready to make as big an impact as he did the year before. And like I said, there's a lot of layers to that, some personal stuff in his life, family matters, things that were, okay, I get it. As a person, I get why he wasn't on top of stuff. But on the other side of that, from a coaching staff, I mean, that's the tough part about being a coach or GM. You can be understanding of a person's situation, but still have to say, hey, the team's got to come first. So with all that being said, we all know Kansas City game, the first couple of games of the season didn't go exactly as Buggs had wanted it to go. Probably a little upset, a little hurt emotionally, felt a little betrayed, put a few things out on social media. And it is what it is. We all have those moments where maybe we say things we don't really mean, but we kind of do in the spur of the moment. Now let's go back to last week's game against the Chargers. Let's go back before that. There's been a powder keg brewing between certain members of the coaching staff and Isaiah Buggs. That powder keg apparently came to crescendo, if you want, within last week. And apparently Isaiah Buggs and Aaron Glenn got into it, and they got into it pretty hard, like face to face in each other's mugs, talking about each other's mamas, talking about you drink Pepsi, not Mountain Dew, stuff like that. I mean, you get it. It got heated. Because of that, some real words came out, some real things were said. And from my understanding, it didn't come to a physical, altercation, not like blows were being thrown, but there was definitely a heated exchange. And because of that, the coaching staff thought that Buggs should basically take a timeout, just try to cool his jets a little bit. Now, I'm not saying he's never going to play for the Detroit Lions again. I do think his career here might be a little bit more in jeopardy after this season, depending on how things, change out. I mean, Buggs comes back out and is a model citizen the rest of the year, then maybe things change. But I'm going to say this right now. They're putting him in the corner and making him, wait a minute because of what happened between him and Aaron Glenn. Do I think it's a huge story? No, because I can tell you, you guys know I've coached for over 30 years. Have I ever had people get in my face? Have I ever had people talk about me or whatever and get pissed? Yeah, it happens. That's the nature of sports. You're playing with a lot of emotions, and especially something like football on the NFL level. Guys are trying to feed their families. Guys are trying to play for paychecks. And you start questioning a man's, somebody's manhood, it probably doesn't go well at that point. But I can't say for certain what all the words that were said between both parties, but I get you guys are probably getting the gist of it. AG, and Bugs got into it, and because of that, Bugs is going to have to sit out a little bit. I will say this from the staff standpoint, I think they're doing a great job of handling it. Nobody's really calling anybody out, and the other part is they're being fair to Bugs too, and just saying, hey, he's got an illness, he's going to be out a little bit, so they're not making a big deal of it. I really even tried to talk to like Micro Mike and some of the guys yesterday about it. Ant-Man and Kurt Steele and stuff like that. I reached out to them about it because is it a huge story? No, but people are asking what's happened with Isaiah Bugs. Is he done in Detroit and stuff? And I don't think that's the case yet. But I do think Isaiah Bugs is going to be walking a thin rope from here on out. He's going to have to control his own fate, be a model citizen, and he's probably sticking around. All right, now that you guys got the crux of all that, let's do what we normally do here, especially on the morning show. Let's get to the comments section, get talking to everybody, and let's start focusing on today's game. All right, Bergs, what do you got? Good morning, Lions faithful, in it's game day. Good morning, Mr. Do Himself, Coach Dan. Good morning to you, Bergs. Oh, we got to put that up on the screen. Yep, hey, I'm messing up here this morning. All right, Lions fan. Number one, greetings and salutations all. Coach Dan, everyone copied your J.J. Watt story. I mean, everyone, Dose, Derek, and they all ran with it. I mean, it happens. So what I would say to you guys, go watch TV tonight as far as the news. Most of the news, somebody does run with it first, then everybody else runs with it. I mean, that's just part of being a reporter. I don't care if you're in print media, social media, or whatever. You get a story, if it's got some legs to it, if it's got some weight to it, everybody else is going to run with it. I mean, that's just part of it. So, all right, Drake, what do you got? Morning, everyone. So Bugs and AG got into it. Things are making sense now. Yeah, and like I said, it probably happens. I won't say a lot, but it does happen, man. And it's probably in the end of the day, not a ton of, it's not a big story on its own. I think the reason why it's getting a little bit more traction is because obviously there was some friction between the coaching staff and Bugs at the start of the year. And now this is just the second layer of it. So you're starting to develop a trend. I think Bugs and I don't know the guy personally or anything. I think he's a great dude. He seems like a great teammate. He seems like someone you'd want on the team. With that being said, though, there's certain things you can't do as a player. You can't get in the face of your coaches and call them out or talk about their game plans or whatever. Not saying he did that, but you get it. It's just a no-fly zone, and because of it, he's going to be sitting out this week. Morning, Bergs. Okay, yep, from number one fan. Miller Ward, does this mean Martin's time is here? That's a good question. I do think, he's played a little bit over the season, and I think he's gotten better with each time he's gone on the field. I would say that, yeah, he should get some snaps today. Plus, he's probably ultimately more athletic than Bugs. So not a bad person to have out on the field on that defensive line against Justin Fields. Lance, good morning. Martin going to take over Bugs' role on the team. Let's go Lions, 8-2 after today. I don't know if he's going to fully get it because there was some other guys on the D line have been playing well. It's just obviously lack of pass rush at times, and there's a multitude of reasons for that. But I think this does open up some possibility for Martin to start ascending up the depth chart. Hey, it's Phil. Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a couple of days. Glad to see you, and good morning to you, too. Hopefully you're having a do one. Don, yeah. Hey, Phil. Good morning to you as well, buddy. Yeah, me too, man. Good morning. Greetings, salutations, Don. All right. Tori Apple, what do you got? Bugs has been on the outside all season, it seems. Him and AG got into it, ? I'm not shocked at all. These coaches make you earn what you eat, and Bugs doesn't seem like he's done much this season. It hasn't been a stellar season for him. I think we all can concur on that, I guess. But I think Bugs is an integral part of the team. It's just, is he doing some things to maybe get himself out of Dodge, so to speak, and also offer up other people an opportunity to take some of his snaps, which obviously this weekend it's going to happen. People are going to take his spot. Phil, what do you got? Early in the season, he played better when he was in there. We played better when he was in there. I thought he definitely helped against the run defense, without question, especially after the first couple games. But it is what it is at this point. I can't foretell the future, but I can tell you this. he's probably on some thin ice from here going forward. Little John, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, everybody. How many points will Fields and Chicago get today? Will Martin help versus Fields? So I'm going to say Chicago gets 20 points. And Fields will obviously contribute to that exponentially. I get, maybe he won't be as sharp as he's been in the past because this is the first game back in whatever, a month or whatever. But I think we all get it. He's an X factor at all times. He can, take off and run. He can hit deep shots against the zone that we typically run with a one high safety, and he can hit them down the sides of the sidelines, and he can do some damage to us. So he's going to hit us. He's going to hurt us. It's just how much can we contain it. Martin, he is a little bit more athletic than most of the interior defensive linemen we have. So from that standpoint, yes, he should help out. Trey, what do you got? Love the show and the Dude Crew. We got this today. I think this could potentially be a big win for Detroit. I do think it's going to be within 10 points. But with that also being said, I could see where this game could really get away from Chicago and be a landslide win for Detroit. But we'll see what happens on the field today. All right, Phil, first game last year was very close. You are correct. Fields is fresh and may have trouble throwing backyard ball today from the Bears. That's not a bad take on that, Phil, because I think you're right that obviously his throwing thumb is going to not be 100%. It's going to be a little beat up, a little sore. Maybe the grip on the ball isn't going to be great. I know there's been some talk about Fields wearing a glove on the throwing hand to try to add to some of his ability to hold the ball. With that also being said, no disrespect to Justin Fields, he just hasn't got enough reps to where he reads defenses very quickly. Sometimes he goes through progressions, not the best. So with all that being said, to your point about backyard or whatever ball, he might go back to being like he was last year for this game, or maybe even other games where he relies on his legs a little bit more. Because, we've talked about this week where the Lions probably are expecting Fields' best game ever that he can muster. And probably most of the NFL should expect it the rest of the season. He's playing for a contract. He's playing for a reason to still be a starting NFL quarterback and that of the Chicago Bears at the end of the season. He's trying to give the Bears brass every reason to not draft another quarterback come next spring. So you got some good points there, Phil. All right, Trey, I don't know, Phil, Fields been out a minute, hoping he has some rust. And there's probably some truth to that too, Trey. He's probably going to have some rust. Like I said, going through progressions already he was slow at, and this is probably only going to exacerbate that. All right, Drake, what do you got? Fields always scares me. He's just a matchup issue for a lot of teams. Yeah, and he is like, he can take off with his legs, obviously, at any time and get some yards. I get last year when we played him, though, we were basically playing just man-to-man every snap, every down. So that is going to help a mobile quarterback if they can break containment to get out and run. This year, we're playing a lot more zone. I'm thinking we'll be able to contain him a little bit better. But that also means since we're playing zone, we're going to open up more passing lanes for him and opportunities. So we'll see what shakes out. I'm hoping the defense rebounds well from last week because I know they're under a lot of flack, AG, the defense as a whole. But let's also be fair to the defense, like we've talked about this week, and say, hey, this defense has won some games for the Detroit Lions this year where the offense wasn't that great. Last week, obviously, the offense carried the workload, but doesn't mean the defense isn't capable. Phil, me too. But the guys can run like a deer, and rust might just mean he runs all over the place because that's what he does. Yeah, and I get you, man. Fields is very rare in the athletic department when it comes to a quarterback, and yeah, he can do some real damage. We'll see what he does, but at least if we play more zone, you got more eyes on him. But like I said, you're also going to open up some opportunities for him to throw the ball too. So, all right, Lions fan, what do we got? I believe in this coaching staff. They keep growing and improving. AG got this, I think. And I got to imagine, part of the beef, I can only imagine in my head, what Bugs and AG got in each other's mugs about. If that thing really got heated, then I'm going to guess that Bugs probably did a little talking about Aaron Glenn's play calling and schemes designs. I mean, that's just what people do, right? In the heat of a moment, they say things they don't really mean. They probably talk and say some things that you're trying to be hurtful at that moment. And I'm sure Aaron Glenn also is aware of what a lot of the people in the media were saying after last week's game. So this is probably an ideal setup for Aaron Glenn to come out and say, hey, I have learned some things. I have evolved as a defensive coordinator. I am going to prove myself. And I'm hoping the defense for Detroit really comes out and plays great today. Phil, Bears might be looking at AG for a head coach. That's a thought, man. That is a thought. I would not mind if we have John Fox waiting in the wings. I know Fox has been known as a defensive coordinator and a pretty good one. It's just at this point in his life, is he going to want to take on the workload of being a defensive coordinator in the NFL? I mean, that I can't answer. Only John Fox can answer that. But good point there, Phil. All right, 9 Drinks. Hey, good to see you in the morning. Boom, 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 boom. We don't always get you in the morning, but we appreciate it when you do show up. Did Bugs messed up AG? If not, put him in. Let's get that aggression out. Yeah, I see. I don't think they got physical, not from what I've seen or anything, but they definitely got nose to nose in each other's face talking about it. And I'll just say that it's clear that they were trying to chew each other's bubble gum. They were that close. All right, Tori, what do you got? Good point, Phil. They might be replacing their coach sooner versus later. Yeah, that's true. I think if Chicago doesn't finish out this season very strong, then yeah, you're probably looking at a change in coaching staff there. All right, Brent. Hey, good morning to you too. Good morning, Coach and Duke crew. I'd like to see Rodrigo catch a TD pass today. I think you got a point there, man. I think it's building up towards that. We started off just seeing him do some run blocking as basically the fullback. And now you're starting to see him evolve where they're running play action and he's going out in routes. So I don't think it's too far off that it could happen today, Brent, or in the foreseeable future. It's setting up, I think. Trey, 9 Drakes, right? Me too, Brent. All right. Michael, yeah, they keep Bugs over AG. Yeah, I'd keep Bugs over AG. Sorry, guys. Morning, I get a lot of dryness in my throat. But anyways, Michael, yeah, I think something's going to happen after the end of the season. Now, does AG go or Bugs? I mean, I'd be speculating at best if I was going to tell you one way or the other. It's just a drink, just something I can't answer, but something will happen at the end of the season. All right, Phil, 9 Drinks is a legend. I would agree. He is infamous throughout the Lions Talk community. So whether it's on this channel or others, yeah, Drinks. Yeah, I knew what you meant, man. Medical News, greetings and salutations. Same to you. Hopefully you're having a good one. Phil, I don't know either guy well. Yeah, me either, man. Now we're talking. Donkey Kong is here to let us know Super Bowl or bust. And you're not wrong, man. Lions win a Super Bowl. That would be awesome this year. Mike, let's go Lions. It's freaking game day. Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, I'm ready for this one and I'm ready for Thursday's game. I think I threw it out in the chat yesterday morning. This would be Lions and Bears have played 3 times in the history of the NFL on November 19th. The Lions have gone 3-0 in those games. It's hard for me to believe that the Lions have never dropped one, but hey, I think they got a real opportunity to push that to 4-0 today. So let's pay attention to that. Phil, Dan, get your car to the Tesla dealer. Yeah, I did stop in yesterday. They had to do some work. I still got to drop it off and whatever it is, another month or something like that for them to fix the deer hit. So Big T, defend the den 100%. Yeah, and I was kind of sad that I couldn't go to the game today. One of the neighbors across the street, shout out to David, had an extra ticket, but I couldn't go just because of some coaching commitments later today. So stinks, but yeah, that place is going to be a madhouse. I'm going to guess today and Thursday, that place is going to be packed. That's going to be rocking. All right, Bergs. I like Bugs, but this is disappointing that we don't need any drama or anyone causing issues in the locker room. We are in a playoff push. Yeah, and I think the coaching staff, I mean, I can't say what's right or wrong. I can tell you, I think based on my experience and probably yours too, Bergs, that they're handling this pretty well. They're not making it about the moment. They probably are just saying, hey, he's got an illness this week. He's not going to be around much. They're giving him a little bit of time to kind of process everything, to try to find himself and calm down. I would say it's not ideal anytime a player and a coach get into it, and they, especially when they get into the point where that thing could have went to blows pretty quick and easy. If one guy would have flinched at it, they would have been tussling, but it didn't happen. Ultimately, words were said and spoken, feelings were probably expressed and bruised. But at the end of the day, I think he's just going to take a game off basically and help cool his jets, and hopefully from there both sides can just move forward at that point. Bergs, morning Lions fan number one, yeah, okay. Michael, howdy Dan and Lions faithful. Lions win 41-16 with our defense rolling and defense stepping up, stop run, and creating 3 turnovers. All right, Michael, I'm gonna hold you to that, man. You get that one right, man. I'm sending you a due. That would be an impressive performance for sure. So here's my question to you: who gets the turnovers? So yeah, and also, guys, just so you guys know, I'm gonna order a proper green screen because I know as much as we all joke about the dew glow and everything, I think it's time for me to replace that and get something that looks a little bit better. So I am working on that. I know a few people on yesterday's video pointed that out, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna on Thanksgiving Day when I got a little time after the Lions game, I'm gonna sit down and figure some ones out, order them, and get it taken care of. So help is on the way, guys. Phil, locker room, yeah, I get it, man, and just disruptions happen. It's just how coaches and the team respond to it and contain it. Hopefully, they've done a good job with that. Day, what do you got? You say the words Stowe and Michael Jackson's "Smooth Criminal" immediately pops into my head. All right, well, I'm glad I could help you out with that, man. So what do we got there? Lorraine, Bugs the competitor. Yeah, ideally, likely. Wants to play every down, but it's not realistic. Campbell's answer the last time Bugs was dressed was always go with the tape matchups. Yeah, and I know somebody, one of the reporters at the pressers, asked him specifically about Bergs, and you could see he wanted to bite his tongue on it. He didn't want to, give anything up. And hey, man, good for him, man. I think everybody's got a lot of respect for Bugs. I think he is a good guy and a good teammate. It's just like you said, competitor. Everybody wants to be out there. Nobody wants to be told that, hey, you're not playing as well as you should, or this guy's starting to pass you by, which could be a part of it. Nobody wants to hear that, man. And it's tough on anybody in any profession, let alone in athletics. So I think we've talked about it before. Martin is developing, but he's not the only one. And Bugs, for whatever reason this season, he just hasn't been what he was last year. And I think personally, if you ask me, I think he's distracted with some family developments and changes. And it's tough, right? Keeping work life and family life separated. But hopefully they can smooth things out between both parties and move forward. 9 Drinks Bugs said, "Don't step on my mama." I'm sure they probably said, a few things to each other. Man, I love this show. All right, Mr. Nico, when AG and Bugs got into it, do you think MCDC was drooling over someone's kneecap, potentially biting it off? Man, I got to be careful what I say here. I know MCDC came over to help smooth things out between both parties, but I don't think he was ready to bite anybody's kneecap off, potentially. Good one, Mr. Nico. All right, Miles, good morning, Lions Pride. Good morning, Miles. Hopefully you're having a good one. Mike, down Chicago and down, baby. All right, I'm down with that. It took me a second, man. Bye, Bugs. Yeah, it could happen, but I'm hoping again, man. I want to think positive thoughts here. I want to think that both sides can just smooth things out and, like I said, just move forward with it, because whether or not he's playing as well as he did last year, he does help the team out. He is a locker room guy. He's got to get right with some things. He's got to start facing some facts that maybe some of his situation and his decreased role, lack of snaps, is on his performance. And some of his teammates are simply playing better that are they're taking snaps away from him. So it's tough, man. It is tough. Phil, Bugs thing started in training camp. Yeah, it did, and it's kind of spilled over from there, right? I mean, again, beating a dead horse here with this conversation because we all get it. He had some family stuff, developments, and stuff like that kept him out of training camp from time to time. In the start of the year, he was a little overweight, not quite in football shape, wasn't really ready to go. And as a coach, I mean, you guys heard me talk about it. I mean, you can be sympathetic. I mean, you guys, all of us can be sympathetic for his situation. The tough part is, at the end of the day, this coaching staff is saying, hey, we get it, but we got to make the choices that help this team perform at the best level possible on Sundays or, Thursdays or whatever days we play. So it happens, man. Rewrite Chicago going down. Yeah, I knew where you were going with that, Mike. I got that. I knew where you're going with it, man. Campus Brooks, what do you got? Bugs and Campbell not vibrating right now? No. I'd say Bugs, Campbell, Bugs, and AG. Definitely Bugs and AG right now are maybe not the best of friends. If you guys are old enough to remember MySpace, Bugs might have taken AG out of his top 5 friends. So, yeah, there's a MySpace shout out. All right, Thomas, I just think if CJ, Mosley, and Houston had been playing all year, defense would have been a notch better. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. You would have had more depth. CJ, in fairness to Tracy Walker, he's not played bad. He's just nowhere near as good in coverage as CJ is. Probably hits better than CJ, but Walker he has some good parts about his game. He's got some deficiencies in his game. Mosley, I'm with you there, Thomas, because now if Mosley plays well, like what his normal or average is, now Jerry Jacobs is your third corner. You just got so much more depth out there, more experience, just 100%. And then Houston, yeah, while he's not great in the run defense, he is pretty good at getting to the quarterback, and this team is obviously sorely missing that aspect. Answer 14. Greetings and salutations, Dan. Game day is here. Lions victory is near. Some good writing there, answer 14. What's your score prediction, 14? Let me know, man. Campus had Thomas. Yeah, Taylor, agree. Me too, man. 100%. Phil, Dan, what are you driving while your car is being repaired? I'm still driving it. I mean, it's drivable, Phil. It's just, they've got to do some fixing to the hood and other stuff. So it's not dead in the water by any means. All right, Randy, what do you got? Greetings from Charlevoix County in the middle of deer season. Are you watching from a deer stand or blind? That'd be my question. Monty's going to play, quote, lights out, running all over Chicago D the whole time, saying you should have paid me. Yeah, I think he's gonna have an axe to grind today, and then obviously when he play in Chicago too. All right, Mike, what do you got? J-Mo gonna be open a lot today. I think you could be 100% right on that. He could be out there, and they could scheme him open, especially since Chicago's team, not just their defense, is a little beat up. So you're going to have some real opportunities for sure. Dr. D, I don't know if he is going to when is JJ Watt arriving. I don't know if he is, and that's one thing I kept trying to repeat in yesterday's video. I just know that they had talks. I'm not saying they're signing him. I'm not saying he isn't signing. I'm just saying here's what I could confirm that both sides spoke. Does he seem to fit the narrative that this coaching staff wants in a player? I think most would say yes. Would he also help with a pass or a lack of pass rush that we currently have? I'd also say that's a fair assessment. I mean, the dude had whatever it was, like 13 or 12 sacks or something like that last year, and he played 12 games. Whether or not he's legitimately looking to come back, that I can't answer. What I can tell you is both sides talked, and from a marriage standpoint, it seems to line up pretty well. As far as the type of person he is, the type of person that the coaching staff and the front office want to sign. So from all that stuff, I can say it seems like an ideal fit. I also get, JJ Watt wants to probably do something in the postseason, which unfortunately for him, every team he's been on just hasn't done anything in the postseason. So those standpoints, it all works out. Whether or not it happens, I don't know. I'm not here to tell you that part. I'm here to tell you they talked. All right, Mr. Ed. Good morning, Coach. Game day. Lions big win. Let's do this. Yes, sir, Mr. Ed. And Ed, I'm going to ask you right now, does Goff have 300 yards or more passing? And Do the Twins, the running backs, both get over 80 yards each? You let me know, man. JDC, go Lions, and good morning to you. Go Lions as well. Correct. Phil, fans are going to blow the roof off Ford Field. They might, man. It's probably going to be pretty loud in there. And again, not just Sunday, but I got to imagine when we win today, that place is going to be a powder keg on Thursday against the Packers. So, it's going to become a tougher and tougher environment, I think, for teams to come into. I know, in the playoffs, a couple of you have brought it up. What's it going to be like being a visiting team in Ford Field in the playoffs? Especially, I know I talked to some of you guys about it yesterday. If this team gets to the NFC Championship game, can you imagine the decimal levels in Ford Field for that? It's going to be fun to watch. Answer 14, AG said the Lions are still a 10th rated defense. Is that the case? Against the run, yeah. Against the pass, boy, they have played very well this year. I want to be clear when I say this. This defense has won games for the Lions this year. It wasn't last weekend. And unfortunately, most people have short-term memories. We just go, last game they weren't so good. The defense isn't so good. They come out and do a couple things these next couple of games to kind of reestablish their identity. Yeah, I'd say they could be around number 10, somewhere in that range. They're not going to be Baltimore's D or a couple other Ds. But, hey, as much respect as I have for the Baltimore defense and think they've played overall this year very, very well, they've also had games where they just got beat. It happens in every league, and it happens in the NFL. There are very few moments in history where you have the 85 Bears that just crush everybody. But also keep this in mind, the 85 Bears did lose a game, and they eventually had to get out of that defense because people adjusted to it. So, it happens. All right. Trey, what do you got? Rising to all. Let's get the win. 31-20. I'll take it. Boom. Thanks for that, Trey. Phil, that's kind of scary. Bugs is a big, strong man. Yeah, and he's got some real size on Aaron Glenn for sure. But you know what? Neither one of them are going to back down. Let's be real. No one's going to cower and hide from the other one because they've got pride. Both of them have a lot of pride. All right, Keto, what do you got? So Bugs, someone needs to jump on AG play calling. Bugs probably did make some comments about Aaron Glenn's play calling, and that probably exacerbated the situation a little bit. Probably talked, like I said earlier, probably talked about each other's mamas a little bit. Probably didn't use the best words for each other. So, yeah, it got heated, man. Brent, watching a live video last night and had to laugh when he said your J.J. Watt story was clickbait and that you were 0 for 12. Yeah, it happens, man. I mean, Brent, man, we've talked about it. There's going to be people that are haters on you all the time. And usually what people try to do is, they discredit anytime you are right on something. So, like you guys know, when I got the news out to Micro Mike, Kurt Steele, Easy from Woodward Sports and everybody, like 4 or 5 hours before ESPN reported about Jameson Williams returning. Nobody brings that up. Nobody brings it up when you start the NFL draft broadcast and say, I've got a pretty good idea the Lions are going to trade back from number 6. They're going to trade out of that. Nobody brings that up. Nobody brings up, last year when you run a video about TJ Hawkinson, a week before he got traded, TJ Hawkinson is going to get traded. They don't bring that up. They bring up, stuff like yesterday. I was very specific in that video. I do not know if they're going to sign him. I only know that they talked and it would make sense, from both sides and standpoints. So people often hear what they want to hear, man, and you just can't pay that much. You just can't pay that much attention to it. All right, Randy, what do you got? If it were up to me, I'd turn Jay Fields into a slot receiver, gadget guy. That's an idea. I know it might not be what Fields wants to hear, but you could have something there and then motion them in to maybe do like wildcat from time to time, or you could play around with that quite a lot. So to your point, you could make him all over the field and make him a matchup nightmare for opposing teams. JDC smoked the Bears like a good doobie. All right, well, they might end up doing that. I know there's a lot of people that are thinking the Lions could win by a comfortable margin, so that might happen. Pound the drums. How many sacks does Detroit get today? Prediction time. All right, I'm going to go with 5 sacks today. And I'll probably be wrong, but you know what? You asked me to put it out there. I'm going to go with 5 sacks today. Hopefully it's more than that. If they're getting that kind of pressure on them and getting home, then it's probably going to be a pretty good day for the Detroit Lions defense. All right, Ronald, let's go Lions. I agree, man. It's a big game for us. Keep the momentum going. Protect the home turf. All right, good morning, Duke Crew. Let's hope the Lions beat the Bears just for the fun of it. I'm down with that. Just for the fun of it. Yeah, let's just do it, man. All right, Phil, do you moonwalk, Dan? I've tried over the years. I wouldn't call myself successful at it. Keitho, Bugs would Molly Wop, Aaron Glenn. Yeah, he would. I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Aaron Glenn is just some sort of superhero or whatever. But I think it'd probably be a one-sided fight, especially if Bugs got his hands on him, took him to the ground. It's just at that point, there's only so much Aaron Glenn can do. Dave, what do you got? Branch is due. He's going to get a turnover or 2 today. Okay, I'll look for that. That's not a bad call. Saying Brian Branch get some plays in today. I like that. Lincoln, what do you got? Hey, bro, I wish I could have caught you while you were in JR yesterday. I'm up there quite a bit for work, so I guess if I head up there again, I'll give you guys a little head notice. Maybe we can all meet at one of the Circle K's up there or whatever. So, yeah, I go up there for houses and coaching stuff quite a bit. All right, what do you got? Answer 14. Eternal drama is the last thing any team needs. Bugs will find himself on the outside looking in. And you're 1,000% right with that, 14. So I think what the coaching staff's doing, like we talked about earlier in the show, they're giving him a moment of pause. Let him try to, find himself. I think they're just being as respectful to the dude as possible and saying, hey, we value you. We want you here. We get you're upset that you're losing some snaps, maybe losing a start or two, but he's also got to be understanding of his situation. It's a tough day for every NFL player, NBA player, Major League Baseball player when you're used to being here and now younger guys start catching up to you because you're declining. And I'm not saying he's declining, but the coaching staff clearly believes that he's no longer the player he was last year. Can he return to that form? Absolutely. He just hasn't done it yet. And, expressing himself the way he did in Aaron Glenn's face, that's just not going to help the matter. All right, Phil, 2 ways to go. Some say screw it, others bear down. Yeah, and I'm going to say this. I'm hoping the defense bears down all over Chicago today. All right, Michael, what do you got? Defense 3 turnovers, INT. Jacobs strip sack by Hutch and Branch with a big hit creates a fumble for Campbell. I like it. I like the predictions. All right, hey, what do you got? Any chance AG will be gone at the end of the year? Is there a chance? Absolutely. Is it because the defense has played well, especially over the last half of the season, and then the postseason where somebody wants to hire him? That's a possibility. Could it be that maybe they look to make a change, try to get somebody more aggressive? The tough part is, MCDC is it seems like a fairly loyal coach, whether to his players or his coaching staff, whatever it is. He seems like, if you're one of my guys, I'm ride or die with you. And from everything I can ascertain, I'm going to say Aaron Glenn and MCDC are pretty tight. They're good buddies. And I get they've coached together in different areas, different spots before Detroit and now with Detroit. Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot for that to go down, where if MCDC wants to replace him, that's going to be tough. But, he's released other friends who were coaches before, so it may happen. We'll see at the end of the season. Phil, which college players can we draft for defensive line? Boy, unfortunately, I don't have my draft stuff ready yet, Phil. I couldn't tell you. I'd be guessing. I do know the one player I would be looking at, whether you draft him earlier or later in the draft. There's a kid at Florida who's like 420 pounds. He is athletic, and he is a defensive interior lineman. I'd have to see more film on him to say, hey, where would you draft him at? But I am aware of him. There's a couple other guys I've been sort of watching. I just haven't paid as much attention to it this year, just because obviously the Lions are not quite in draft talk yet. Mark, Bugs, is upset after seeing your comments about the Lions signing Watt. Yeah. And again, I want to be clear, they haven't signed him. They've just talked to him, but he might be. Maybe that's another sign that, Bug sees some of his snap counts going down. So it happens, man. People get upset about things. Bugs needs to grow up. Life happens, and this is your job and how you feed your family as a man. Yeah, you're 100% right. And that's, I don't know his contract to say, hey, it's guaranteed, it's not guaranteed, whatever. But to your point, D, if he gets booted off the team, if that money isn't guaranteed, then he's taking food off the plate of his family. And that's just not ideal, man. All right, let's see. Moving on, Dave, what do you got? It's gotta bother, motivate JMO that Gibbs is better route runner than he is. Yeah. At the moment, yeah. I would say, I've talked about this before, and I get you guys have talked about it too. I do think Jameson Williams and Gibbs, they're different but same. I mean, they're both incredibly athletic and blessed. Jameson Williams, his route running, it has come around a long way from where it was last year to where it is now. And if you look back, like I've talked about before, from college to now, yeah, he's come a long way. I'm really hoping one of these games, like today would be a great day for J-Mo to bust out, for Gibbs to have a huge game. This offense, we all saw what it did last weekend. I think this might start getting closer to what happened last weekend to being the norm. Assuming there's not injuries and stuff like that derail it. It's just, you've got a ton of weapons out there. You got a real good, offensive coordinator. You also have a quarterback who, I get he started the year maybe not the greatest, or at least not as great as the year before, but the last month or so, Goff's been balling. So if they can all get on the same page, Gibbs, Williams, St. Brown, Laporta, this offense is going to be a real tough one to stop, especially if we get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Phil, Branch feeling well enough to show his A game again? I think a lot of it, Phil, we all get the start of the year, dude was on fire. Making plays left and right, blah, blah, blah. But then he did have the ankle injury. Then he had the bye. But I'd also say this, when we watch film today, or we watch the game today, and we watch it Thursday, how often is he in position to make plays? Because they're not simply going at him anymore, at least not as much. So if they're not throwing near him or running near him, he's just not in a position to make a lot of plays. So I'm guessing he's fairly healed up by now, Phil. I can't swear to that. I'm guessing on that. But I do think a big part of the reason why his numbers have gone down is just nobody's targeting him as much or going after him in coverage. All right, answer 14. Man, another big prediction here. Lions 41-17, big win. That would be an impressive one. Basil, I wouldn't mind both AG and Bugs out next season. We are bottom of the list in sacks and pass coverage. Wouldn't mind it, new DC. And it could happen, man. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen until after the season's over, if that goes down. So you got a good point there. All right, pound the drums. How many snaps does Donovan Peoples-Jones get today? I'm going to go with 18. Let's go with 18. Give or take a few, but that's my guess out there. And I want to see what he does on intermediate routes, not just longer routes. So we'll see how they use them. Phil, buck poles everywhere. Not as many hunters this year. Buck poles are pretty full. And, I've got some buddies that went out. I didn't this week, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Dr. D, Dan, I'm just busting your balls. I understood that. Yeah, I get it, man. It's just, you get some comments and stuff from people last night. And let me tell you, there were more than a few. It's just, hey, I just want to reiterate to people. I'm not saying what's going to happen. I'm just saying what did happen. So you're good, man. I'm just letting you know. All right, Jay Michael, what do you got? Hello, sir. Thanks for the updates. Hopefully the defense can get Fields on the ground today. Yeah, that would be a huge thing. Because if we don't get to him, I mean, he might not be as evolved as a passing quarterback as he will be in the future, but you also don't want to help him out. You don't want to give him 8 Mississippis to throw. I'm really hoping AG comes out with something to, early and often, and then has some counters to their counters. That's where I think AG still needs to evolve. He has improved a ton as a defensive coordinator, but when teams catch him off guard with things, he still struggles to make those adjustments, and that's just something that happens at the time. I'm hoping he's better prepared for it, or just a little bit more evolved with it today. Oh boy, Phil, you're gonna put me on the hot spot here. Marriage, you talking to Jennifer about this? Not today. That's what I'll say. Probably not today. Could happen though. Big T, what not happening? It might not. Again, beating the dead horse here, but I can only tell you that both sides talked. I can only tell you it makes sense. I cannot tell you if it will happen. All right, Bergs, Goff. Ooh, I like this. 375 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. That would be an impressive day for him. And I'm going to say this to you, Bergs. At that point, the way he's played this year, does Goff start moving into the MVP conversation? I don't think he'll get it, but is he at least in that conversation? All right, Kappas, Rooks, what do you got? Twins run for 180 yards today. Monty and Gibbs won't be stopped. Yeah, and boy, that would be something, because I think we all probably know after the media and stuff this week that Chicago's run defense is apparently pretty good. If we put up 180 on them, yeah, you might have to get some questions about that run defensive number. Mike, notice you get called coach. Where do you coach? I've coached all sorts of places over the years. I've coached professionally, collegiately, high school, middle school, travel stuff. I've been coaching a long time, man, and getting ready to am coaching again. So I've also done some scouting for overseas markets in Middle East, not really Russia, and then Asia as well, as far as Japan, China, not so much Japan. So yeah, I've been around the world, buddy. Bergs, what do you got? The number 3 run defense, not positive on passing. Yeah, I know they're pretty good against the run. They're not so good against the pass. Obviously, with our run game, Bergs, we're going to be testing their number 3 run defensive rating. Phil, when the coach has to point out how well we've played this year, he's feeling the heat. Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of truth to that when you're trying to back up what people are saying or justify your status and trying to defend it, to people that are maybe throwing some stones at you. Yeah, it's probably not a good thing. All right, JDC, what do we got? Magic 8 Ball says Lions 24, barely 17. That's a close game though, man. That's a game in the fourth quarter. I'd take it because you know what? It's a win, and I could care less what we win by as long as we win. Ed, running backs both get 100 yards. Wow. Goff 350. Yes, Jameson gets over 100 yards. Defense gets 3 turnovers. Ed, man, you got some Madden stats going on here, and I like it, man. I think, man, the post game show would be a fun one. All right, Jay, Michael, what do you got? I do hope that AG gets a head coaching job next year. A change would help everyone. Yeah, and I want nothing but success for everybody. Unless you're playing against my team, then hey, you can have success after the game's over. But yeah, I've got no ill will for Aaron Glenn at all. Brent, 27-17 Lions. All right, I'll take that. I think everybody would. Ants 14 Lions get that first playoff win, and I'm buying first round of due for everybody. I'm gonna hold you to that, man. I am gonna put you on the spot for that. Let me screenshot that and save that, and that way you can't go, man, you misunderstood what I said. All right, besides the Seahawks, Ravens, and Chargers, the Lions defense has given up between 6 and 24 points. Yeah, and so we're like we were talking about earlier today with the Ravens. I mean, everybody's gonna have bad games from time to time. Probably if you would have went into the fourth quarter of their game against the Browns, you said, yeah, this is a wrap. Things happen though. So yeah, sometimes everybody makes plays. All right, Lane, by team defense yards allowed, Detroit is number 3 against the run. Chicago is number 2. Pass yards allowed, and Detroit is number 20. Chicago is 26th. Are both teams allowing more pass separation to stop the run? Some of it is, I think to your point, is design. You look at how the Lions play. I mean, they do kind of stack the box a little bit. So there's going to be more opportunity for intermediate or deep shots, and especially on miscommunications, which we've had, unfortunately, there's just less help in the second half. There are times we do drop, instead of 1 high safety, we do drop 2. Then it's easier to run on us, but for the most part, both defenses do have some similarities. They're going to stack that box. They're going to put 7, 8 guys around the line of scrimmage to force you into being more one-dimensional, which both teams are giving up more passing yards than rushing yards. And a lot of it is, again, just to reiterate the point, a lot of it is because of the schematic designs of both defensive coordinators. All right, but good catch on that. Ed, if this game is a blowout, do you pull Goff? Depends on what point in the game. If you're talking like we're up 17-24, 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I would. Yeah, I'd be pulling a lot of people out of there just because at that point, you should be able to control the clock with the backups and try to protect some people. It's 14. The difference is you are a coach, a GM, and in the game, the others are just reporters. Respect the work you put into the info you share with us. Hey, no problem, man. I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it very much. And everybody's got strengths, everybody's got weaknesses. You just try to play to your strengths, right? Right. That's coaching. All right, Phil. Blue and blue uniforms or blue tops and silver bottoms? You're talking for today? Man, I guess I don't know what they're going to wear today. To be fair, I could see on Thanksgiving us using a throwback, but I'm not aware, Phil, what we're going to wear today. All right. Brett, what do you got? How many false starts do the Bears have today due to crowd noise? I'm thinking 4 or 5. That's probably a good point on your behalf, Brent, that, one, you got Fields coming back after a month or whatever away. You get closer to those end zones where you're backed up, especially if you're backed up to them. Yeah, it's going to be hard to make those line adjustments. And also, to your point, the Bears do have some younger offensive linemen out there. It's going to be a lot easier to catch some of them off guard with things. So that's a real good pickup on you, by you, Brett. Mike, what do you got? Dude Crew, where is the best place to park for the game these days? I'm going to have to defer to everybody in the comment section on that, Mike. Hopefully they can help you out because, usually when I go to the games, it's one of the neighbors across the street driving, and I'm in the backseat just playing video games or whatever until we get there, and then we get out to their spots. Dave, what do you got? Chicago's defense being number 2 against the run might be a tad misleading. 5 of their games have been against teams ranked from 27 to 31 running the ball. Yeah, that's a good point. And I know we talked about a little bit earlier in the show that, stats can be a little skewed based on who you play, but the fact that you took it next level and said, hey, the teams that you're playing against, how good are they running? You might have hit the nail on the head with that one. All right, Phil, cool white uniforms with the new helmets. That might happen. Keito, playing with my emotions, Dan, with this J.J. Watt to see Detroit. Yeah, and hey, man, I can only tell you they talked. I get it would make a lot of sense. And I would also say this, man, I think it would help a lot. And this is just me, coach talk here. Let's just say, all right, you bring the dude in. Maybe you do start him. Maybe you say, all right, you got 2 snaps. Then we're bringing in Irvin. Then he's getting 3 snaps. Then we're rotating in Jack Campbell at the outside edge or whatever. You can keep everybody fresher. But the other part is for some of these older players, can they still perform at a high level? Yes. Can they do it sustainably over the course of a game? Probably not as much. But if you're saying, hey, I'm going to give you 3 or 4 snaps each quarter, I need you to go all out on those. They can probably do that, knowing that I'm going to give you 2 or 3 in a row, and then I've got 8 to 10 minutes worth of rest. I could probably do that. I know a couple of people in the comments yesterday brought up Watt's heart condition. I did look into that a little bit. It is treatable. And I'm assuming for his own personal health, it's been treated. Now, whether or not he's going to be cleared for NFL play or whatever, that I can't ascertain. I'm not that kind of person. I can't sit here and tell you I know for certain, or I went to WebMD and looked that stuff up. I can't do that. I can tell you though, it does seem like a real ideal fit. Young Hippie, what do you got? How many yards do you think Demo has? I'm going to go with 35 today. Keith, playing with my emotions. Well, I'll try to avoid it, man. Phil, if AJ loses the player's respect, he'll have trouble staying. Yeah, and that's why I think, I can't tell you everything they're doing with the situation with Bugs. I can't tell you what they have done, and I think we all get it. His illness all week. his illness is that he just needs a little bit of time to just kind of find himself. And once he does that, I'm hoping he comes back with the team. Everything's kumbaya. He's out there. He's balling. He's helping the team play well. Everybody heals from the situation, because again, it's not like they threw bows at each other. It's not like somebody went WWE and dropped a big elbow on the other guy or something like that. They got into a shouting match. They got heated. Things were said. Somebody was pissed off about somebody else. Yada yada. It does happen in life, and not just in sports. So hopefully they can all just kind of heal from this and move forward. All right, Michael. Jared loves the blueberry uniforms for today. Our run game plus 200 yards. Jared Goff plus 250. That's a good day out there. All right, Fletch, what do you got? Fletch is in the Hillies, Franklin, North Carolina this morning, just waiting. Got today's beat down. All right. You vacationing or doing something there for work or whatever, man. Whatever it is, I hope you have a great day out there, man. Don Kong, we have to hope AG gets a head coaching job. Oh boy, that's another level of thinking out there. Thomas, I'm really pulling for Jack Campbell to start flashing. Yeah, and I think he has been improving, but sort of like James Williams, he's improving a little bit at a slower rate than some other guys, but he's definitely improving. 9 drinks, all young too. Yes. All right, Phil. Mixing my morning dew with a hot, fresh cider this morning. All right. How you liking that? I'd never thought about that. Terry, will Peoples-Jones play today? I think he will. And I think he'll get, like, I think I just said, like around 35 yards total. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he gets 190, but I'm going to go with somewhere around there. 9 drinks says, ooh, Lions are going to beat him down bad. 34-6 Lions. I'm down with that. JDC Coffee and Puff here from the Yuppie of Michigan. Yeah. There was a place I used to go, and I know the owner passed away. He always would drive to Lions games. They honored him. I want to say he passed away like 3 or 4 years ago, but Yupperman's, I want to say it was called. Yeah, I used to go there when I'd go up to the UP every summer and just stop in. You probably know where I'm talking about, but I can't remember the exact name of the place offhand. Donkey Kong, if Lions lose to 1, AG should be canned immediately. Oof. I don't. For me, it's tough as a coach to say, hey, we're gonna fire it in season, especially since you're winning, you're gonna go to the playoffs and stuff. But I guess it depends on how bad they lose, right? Donkey Kong again. I can just vision Fields coming back and having the game of his life against AG-led defense. I think that's everybody's hesitation or worry when you face the Chicago Bears, is that could Fields do that to you? All right, Phil, close to 200 here this morning. Grow, Dan, grow. Yeah, and it's been growing. So, yeah, 200 plus. Yeah, and I'm thankful for all of you guys with that. All right, young hippie, what do you got? What are the Bears really good at? Hopefully not beating Detroit. Let's go with that. Hopefully getting on the bus and getting out of town with a loss. Hopefully they're good at that. Duncan, they have running QB, which the Lions have proven time and time again they cannot defend. Yeah, they do struggle with that. So anyways, guys, I'm going to get going. Been on for an hour today. I will have the post-game show today. I will not have a pre-game show, so consider this your pre-game show. If you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get to 4,500 today, maybe even 46. Who knows? If you guys have any thoughts or comments, leave in the section below, or once the live's done, if you want to put it up there too. Whatever works best for you. Hope you have a good one. Hope the Lions get us a big win, and we all have a great post-game show. Enjoy your days. Get a Mountain Dew. Don't forget to smash that like button, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.